Oh, turn the phone down. Got it.
It's 8 o'clock.
Nope.
I missed that.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I missed it.
Oh, you can hear when
it.
that's so weird. Like, it's really loud. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Hello,
How's it
hello.
going?
Just turn my phone all the way down.
So I hope
Yeah.
everybody has had a good week so far.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are ready for an action-packed show today. We have a lot to talk about. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. We have a new look. We're gonna tell you about what's coming up in the show in a little bit, but I just hope everybody had a good week. As you know, it is Friday Eve. Always. It's when you see Friday Eve, you know what time it is.
Yes.
You know, the best online Thursday show on the planet right here. What's Up, People News. Thank you guys for tuning in. We definitely have Miss Mary in the building. Hello,
hey,
welcome the usual suspects. Yes, I love it. Oh, of course, we can't forget shout out to one of the world's best moderators.
That's right.
You already know who it is, Miss Michelle. Thank you. Did you want to say anything? You wanted to?
I think I want to be introduced first, but you know.
Yeah, no. This is just a quick, let everybody come into the building real quick. But you will definitely be introduced first today, because last week it was all
you
over.
You forgot all about me.
I was like, yo, we're back.
Exactly. That's funny. That's okay.
Right. There we go. I hope everybody's had a good week. Please let us know in the chat or in the description below. Right off the bat, everything that we talk about, just so I can get this out the way now, everything that we talk about will be in the description box after the show. So you guys can read some of the links. Again, like we always say, we'll bring you the information, but please do the research, yourself. Check us, make sure we're on point. You might take something from an article, or you may see a clip that we've talked about, and you may get something totally different than how we may interpret it. So, definitely do your own research. That's always important. You don't want to be a sheep, all that stuff that people say. But yeah, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready too. Welcome to What's Up, People News. I am Lana Quest, and this is our co-host, the handsome guy with that suit and tie on. Give it up for Casey. Come on, y'all.
Thank you. And with that being said, if this is your first time, we are a local online news show. We talk about local, national, and international news. Just like she said, that is Miss Quest. I am Aaron Casey. And let's get this show on the road.
Yeah,
what we got for the people
It's
today?
going to be a great show. We're going to talk about the Ring of Fire. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot today. We're going to talk about some pandemic supplies, what the Senate's got going on, what's going on in Georgia, what's going on with Trump, what's going on with Ivanka, what's happening in Beijing. There's a lot happening. Stay tuned. Go get your mama and your aunties. Come on, let's go.
There it is. Y'all better go get them. Hold on. Little perspiration. It's a little bit. It's hot. What's up, people? News mugs.
Yeah, and don't let them fool you. It is not hot here where we are. It's freezing. It may be hot in where his house, but it ain't hot outside. It is freezing.
Yes, it's hot where I'm at. It's hot in the in-home studio. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Of course, we're going to start with some quick news. 1 second. All right, just like Miss Quest said at the top of the show, Beijing. If you guys haven't known, there's something called coronavirus going on out there. It is the winter. Why did I say that? Because it's the Winter Olympics. It's being hosted in Beijing, China. And right now, and of course, just like how it was last year, a couple years ago in Japan, I think it was. A lot of people are protesting. And just the other day, a 26-year-old lady was tested with the new Omicron variant. This is just one person. And Beijing said, you know what? No tickets are being sold to the general public for this year's Winter Olympics. You'll still be able to see it. You'll still be able to root for your favorite skier, ice skater, snowboarder, the people that be doing this. And I don't know what that's called. That's one of my favorites.
Some Lug, the Lug. I don't know.
Something. Oh, speaking of that, this year, the Jamaican bobsled team has made it to the Winter Olympics. For everybody of a certain age, they all remember
dope.
Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so dope.
Robert Townsend.
Right,
yeah,
right.
He did that. Yeah, right.
That
Was that Robert
awesome
Townsend? Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. John Candy was in it. R.I.P. Who else was in it? A young. There was Malik Yoba. He was in it.
Was Leon in it? I think Leon.
Yep, Leon was in it too.
Yeah.
Everybody, please, if you haven't seen it, go watch Cool Runnings. It's an awesome movie. Came out in the early 90s. And again, the Jamaican bobsled team has made it to this year's Winter Olympics. So that's who I'll be rooting for. Hopefully they win. So that's awesome. Moving right along from the Winter Olympics, Oxfam, who is that? They are an organization built up of scientists, economics, people who study economy, things like that, financial sector, all the major industries. They come together, nonpartisan. They write articles, talk about what's going on in the world. And just recently, they wrote an article about the world's 10 richest men and how all of them, their wealth doubled during a pandemic, or should I say, since the start of the pandemic. Millions and millions of people have lost their lives. Millions have lost jobs, but yet these people are making triple, double what they did before the start of the pandemic. It's a great article talking about a lot of different factors, things like that. The disparity, the wage gap, the wage inequality, all of that. So please check that article out. A lot of interesting things to think about, to ponder, and then be like, you know what, we have to make a change. Moving right along, kind of going on with the whole COVID situation. If you guys haven't known, the government, Joe Biden, they have gotten out the home test kits for COVID. I'll make sure, I want to say this, there is a link to where you can order or receive your 4 free in-home COVID test kits through the UPS. We already did it. It's by address, not by individual. So if someone in your household has already ordered it, and then you try to do it and put that same address, you will get a message saying this address is already on file, which means it's already,
Casey tried it.
I did. I ain't gonna lie, I did.
He got that message. Casey tried it. He knows the exact wording of that message.
ain't gonna let you. It's one packet per household. So, but yeah, make sure you go check that if you want it. It's accessible. It's there. If you, again, we've always talked about this. If you haven't got your vaccinations, please get it. If you have, get the booster shot. And if not, please do your part. Wear a mask. Be courteous of other people. You know, we're not trying to force anything on you. We just want people to stay healthy.
I'm sorry. I am. Get your vaccine. I'm not
that
nice. Just get your vaccine. Also, real quick. So if you have bought your if you paid for a test kit prior to the free ones coming out, or prior to getting a free one, if you went to CVS or somewhere, you can get reimbursed by your insurance company. So go get your money back if you actually paid for one.
Okay, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be free.
Okay. Well, hey, there it is. So I basically keep your receipt.
Right.
You know, email the right people, email your insurance, get that reimbursement. But get those tests. They're very, very important. A lot more people are being affected because of this Omicron variant. It spreads a lot. Omicron, there you go. It spreads a lot faster. It may not have as horrible symptoms as the two previous, but it's still COVID, people. You can still get sick. It can still mess up your breathing, things like that. So please, if you don't, which, you know, again, I'm saying it nice, but you heard her, go get it. She said, go get it. I'm saying, go get it. And if not, wear a mask. Come on, be civil about this, people.
Right.
But with that being said, also starting next week, again, thank you, Joe Biden. Some people may have debated this should have been done sooner. We're not here to debate that. It's here now. So again, thank you, Joe Biden, for that. Starting next week, once you go to your local pharmacies and local healthcare clinics or centers, you'll be able to get 3 free N95 masks. Now, I don't have a link for that because it's based on where you're at. So we're in a different state than some of you guys, so it may be a little different. But definitely, wherever you're at, go to your city's government webpage, or look at for your local CVS or pharmaceuticals stores, your local clinics. They'll have that information. But you'll be able to get that starting sometime next week. This is great stuff, people. This is great stuff. Again, it's here. We got it. Utilize it. It's a resource. Stay healthy. And the last thing I got before I pass it off, we want to give a big congratulations. I guess congratulations. But this day back in 2009, that's wow. That's like 2009. Whew, that seems like it was over a long time ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, on this day back in 2009, our first Black president, Barack Hussein Obama, was sworn in as the 44th president of these United States. Just a quick, very brief bullet points about this gentleman. He was born August 4th in 1961. He married the beautiful Miss Michelle in 1992. And they have 2 daughters, Malaya and Sasha. So again, this is real quick, brief. I didn't get to the point where he was in the Senate, did his thing in Chicago. I just boom. Thank you guys. This was quick news. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Oh, wait, one more notification for January 20th. This is my 2nd year anniversary on What's Up People News. Casey doesn't think about things like on today, January 20th is the day that I started in 2020.
Yo, yes, everybody, y'all need to give it up, man, for Miss Quest. She's been here holding it down. She's been awesome, coming with the information, coming with the facts. Y'all need to give her some big shout outs. I apologize.
Thumbs up and a like.
Real quick, I forgot. I do have one more quick news. This is from the Philadelphia Inquirer. I didn't know this, but a couple weeks ago, 3 Sharon Hill police officers fired shots into a car full of high school students. And because of that negligence, an 8-year-old kid was killed because of those 3 cops not following procedure, not following protocol. After the whole situation that happened with Mr. Floyd, every police officer went on the stand and was talking about procedures and things that they have to do in real life and death critical situations. There's processes and steps. All those steps and processes and things that cops have to go through was kicked to the curb, was pushed aside, was shoved past, and an innocent 8-year-old kid, 8. 8. My son is 10, so I can only imagine, a baby. Life was taken away from these zealous cops trying to, in their words, protect and serve, but they weren't protecting or serving anybody but their own interests. Again, I'll make sure you guys have a link to this article. Please check this out. It's just devastating. This is another reason why you hear defund the police. This is why more training has to be done. And a deeper look has to be taken at the individual. Like, they really need to do a psychology work, because there has to be 2 fronts. There has to be accountability as a whole for a police station, a police force, and there has to be individual accountability. Both of those have to happen, because if not, we're going to keep seeing story after story like this, trial after trial, and I'm fed up. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm getting angry. Like, I'm tired of seeing this. But justices in certain cases have been served, with the Kim Porter situation, with the Derek Chauvin situation, and coming up, the 3 other officers that are involved in that whole Mr. Floyd situation, their trial is coming up. So we'll make sure to keep you guys posted about that as well. But that's all I got, people. That's all I got.
Yeah, so let's do some quotes and questions. Shall we?
Let's do it.
We ready?
Y'all
ready? Y'all ready up in that chat? I'm not ready. Let me find them. Oh my God. Oh, I got them.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone, let's put on your thinking caps. I see Infinite is not in the chat. So Michelle P, you may be a winner today.
Let's do it.
All right. First quote. Any senator who cannot support the protection of voting rights in the U.S. cannot say they support the Constitution. Any senator who cannot support the protection of voting rights in the U.S. cannot say they support the Constitution. I will give a hint. This is not a politician. He is not a politician. He is a celebrity. He is a singer.
John Legend.
He was on Motown, I think. Yeah.
Motown singer.
Any senator who cannot support the protection of voting rights in the U.S. cannot say they support the Constitution. All right, I'm going to give you another hint. This is going to be a big hint. His song is the most played song at weddings. R. Kelly, no. I mean, maybe back in the day. I don't know if R. Kelly was on Motown. Yes, Stevie.
Stevie.
Stevie Wonder said that Ribbon in the Sky would be the song that's the most played. But yeah, any senator who cannot support the protection of wood. Stevie Wonder almost swore about this. There was like, he has a whole video that he was talking about this. He was very upset.
Hey, if
and
he needs to
should be.
swear, cuss, let it out.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder was
your
he
frustration
was a whole
out.
activist. Stevie Wonder was an activist. Stevie Wonder was out there too, marching. Stevie was doing his thing too. So absolutely. Okay, next quote. You cannot remember Dr. King and dismember his legacy at the same time. You cannot remember
one more time.
You cannot remember Dr. King and dismember his legacy at the same time. Ooh, Frankie Beverly. That's a good guess. You cannot remember. Me too. You cannot remember Dr. King and dismember his legacy at the same time. The quote is bigger than that. I can go on. You argue whatever side you want, but you don't get to argue both sides.
But you don't get to argue both sides.
You cannot remember Dr. King and dismember his legacy at the same time. So it is a man. He is African American. He's a politician as well as a reverend.
Warnock.
Yeah.
Yo, and he has a lot on his plate coming up this year. So we definitely gotta keep you guys posted on what's going on with Senator Warnock. He has a big race coming up, but we'll get into that later on.
Kamala. VP.
That's what that is. I didn't know what I didn't know what that was. Little $, little euro at the end of it.
All right. Let's see. Next, if women succeed, America succeeds. Yes, Reverend Warnock. There's a really long delay. If women succeed, America succeeds.
I'm gonna have to rely on the usual suspects for this one.
It's a woman. She's a politician. I don't want to say too much. She's the boss. If women succeed, America succeeds.
If women succeed, America succeeds.
She's the boss lady in Congress. Well, she's the boss lady in the House of Representatives. Yeah. Yes,
AOC?
Michelle. Pelosi. The boss. AOC ain't nobody's boss.
True. I took it as
these are
I didn't
hard.
know you meant. I didn't think you meant like literally a boss. I thought you just meant who. I'm a boss.
Yeah.
Pelosi.
Pelosi's both. She's a boss and she's a boss. They said these are hard. Okay, I'll give more hints. It's like the hints would just give it away. But you guys are doing good. You're guessing all of them. What do you mean they're hard?
Right?
Okay, here's one. Don't lecture me about Jim Crow. I know this is not 1965. That's what makes me so outraged. It's 2022. He is a senator. He was talking to, what in the world is that man's name? Tim Scott on the Senate floor.
He was talking to Tim Scott. I don't like Tim Scott.
Nope.
Floor.
Don't lecture me about Jim Crow. I know this isn't 1965. That's what makes me so outraged. It's 2022.
John.
Okay, so all right, he's a senator. This happened on the Senate floor. This happened during the voting rights debate. He was talking to Tim Scott. No, it can't be Uncle Tim because he's saying, don't lecture me about Jim Crow. I know this is not 1965. That's what makes me so outraged. It's 2022. And you guys are still doing this. These two people spar a lot. They actually work together on trying to do George Floyd reform.
They work together. George Floyd reform.
I'm giving y'all a lot of hints.
You are, and I'm like, you're all but not spelling the name. I'm like, yo, what is going on here?
He worked with Tim Scott, and then Tim Scott pulled the plug on him and stabbed him in the back. Mitt Romney? He's black. He worked on George Floyd bill. He's black with Tim Scott. Okay, thank you. Cory Booker, yes.
Wow.
Mary, Mitt Romney. Okay, here's one. Kristen Sinema used to be a hardcore progressive. Was she bitten by a radioactive Ted Cruz or something? Check my last part of my accent. That's what I was trying to be. I was trying to sound like him. Kristen Sinema used to be a hardcore progressive. Was she bitten by a radioactive Ted Cruz or something? Comedian. Black comedian.
Was it Chappelle?
Kristen.
Because you said, I'm trying to hear the cadence when you said.
I know. I was trying.
I'm like, I can see a Dave Chappelle in that.
I'll try. Kristen Sinema used to be a hardcore progressive. Was she bitten by a radioactive Ted Cruz or something? Black comedian. Late night. There you go. Yes,
Noah.
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 See, Michelle got my accent. Like, what is
yo, y'all
Terry
better hit
Crews?
the like button
Is
for
that
the
Terry
impersonations,
Crews?
yo.
Is that Terry Crews? Kevin Hart, exactly. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart stays away from politics. You will not hear Kevin Hart talk about politics ever.
Mm-mm.
I don't even think he said anything
it's
about
always
voting
like
rights.
Personal.
Yeah, he never talks about that. He's trying to get everybody's money. He want racist money, conservatives, Democrat. He ain't getting involved. You ain't separating him. Last one. There is no obstruction whatsoever. The government will stand behind you. So he's lying. That's a hint. There is no obstruction whatsoever. The government will stand behind you. We've been yelling at this guy for probably the last 2 months. People hate him. He is a senator. He is the senator of one of the poor states in the union. He is
Mississippi.
Kristen Sinema's yang to her yin. He's the yang to Kristen Sinema's yin, or he's her yin to Kristen Sinema's yang. Yin and yin yang. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mansion.
exactly. Well,
So,
good job, Michelle. You win the prize when we get them.
right. Yo, and
Good
Manson, he got
job.
a lot of shady things. He gets a
Yeah.
lot of money from a lot of
Fuel
polluters.
industry. Yeah.
He's big in the coal mining industry, or he has a lot. He gets a lot of donations, campaign donations
Yes, he does.
from a lot of the major coal industries in West Virginia,
Exactly.
Pennsylvania as well. Basically, that whole little area, that little pocket. So yeah, he got some skeletons in his closet.
He absolutely does. And some money.
So
Driving
yeah.
around in Maseratis and having yachts. So he's doing pretty good. So what you got there?
So we're gonna take a little flight because we was just up in the western West Virginia, Pennsylvania area. You know, we're gonna take a flight down south. We're gonna go down south, right? You know, we're gonna go to a little state called Georgia, people. Georgia. So yeah, we talking about Georgia. Let me get my notes. So you're probably thinking, why are we talking about Georgia? Why did we go on this long flight? We was up in the New England area. We was about to go to Boston, get some clam chowder or something like that. I'll just get me a steak and cheese. You know, might hit up what's that spot up on Blue Hill? Little sub shop. Anyway, we're in Georgia. A lot of stuff is going on. And so you're probably wondering what's going on in Georgia. Well, actually, right now, Lincoln County, which has a population of about 7,700 residents, people, what they're doing right now is having a lot of reverberation, a lot of consequences, a lot of other states, small municipalities, small towns are actually taking looking at Georgia and wanting to implement what's going on. So right now, like I was saying, Lincoln County, with a population of about 7,700 people, is one of the counties in Georgia right now that's either disbanding or dismantling their board of elections. And this is important because this affects elections. You know, this affects who, validates, certifies the election results. So this has big consequences. Like we spoke about at the top of the show, there's going to be some big races, especially midterms is coming up in Georgia. And Senator Warnock is one of the people that's up for re-election in Georgia and can be affected by all what's going on with the disbanding of these board of elections. Certain Democrats, certain people in these positions is getting fired or getting kicked out. Why? Because Republicans, and again, this is why voting is such an important thing, why it matters, why every vote counts. This is why we're fighting so hard to get these voting rights bills passed. Just like what we were talking about last week, we were trying to figure out what is Schumer, what is the leadership and the Democratic Party going to do to try to get these bills passed, because they are vital. We need these bills. We have people who need their voices heard. We need people who have great ideas to help better people, whether it be with health insurance or a new way to do finances or something like that. We need people in offices that have these bright ideas that are willing to stand up to the big conglomerates and people like that to say, hey, this bill will benefit all these people, So because, again, the Republican-controlled parties in Georgia have created these bills that affect voting rights to make sure that polling places, for example, polling places, there used to be numerous polling places around Georgia. They're trying to get it down to one.
Well, that's every Republican run state is doing that. That's across the board. There's Georgia's, Alabama,
Florida,
Mississippi,
Arizona, those two as well.
Wisconsin, North Carolina, South Carolina, like it's across the board.
And it's sad because it's as simple as this. The Republican parties don't have policies. They don't have any ideas. They just want to control and make sure you can't do what you do, and to make sure you can't fight back against the stuff that they do. Like, they don't have any ideas for the economy. They don't have any ideas for healthcare. They don't have any ideas. They don't have nothing. They just want to control. Because if you had ideas, if you had new things to talk about, new inventive ways to accomplish certain goals, you would be talking about that.
They asked Mitch McConnell. They asked him this week. He got up there and did his little presser because he had to say why he wasn't voting for the blacks to be able to vote. He was like, African Americans can vote just like Americans can vote. Do you hear what I said? He said African Americans can vote like Americans can vote. So he separated us out like we're not a part of America. That right there tells it all. But a reporter asked him, hey, do you have any policies? What are your policies? He said, I'll get back to you. Now he can't even talk the rip. He can't even say, I mean, come on, Mitch. You can at least say, oh, we're going to get tax cuts to the rich. Like off the rip, he couldn't even say that. He couldn't even tell what he was just. Yeah, that's what we're faced with.
That shows it. They don't have any plans. They don't have any policies. They just want to make sure they want to control whatever it is that they can control. And that's that. They don't want to have you question what's going on. They'll question you. They'll ask you all the stuff. But when the role is reversed, when the shoe's on the other foot, silent, nothing. Right. You know, if you have plans to help people, let's talk about it. Where are they? But they don't want to do that. They just want to make sure that the people that vote for them, and that's it. You know, because again, they're not creative, they're not inventive, you know, they're not thinking outside the box. If anything, they're crabs in a barrel. They don't want you to think differently. They don't want you to have your voice. They want you to march to this tune and march this way, and that's the only way. So it's a lot, just like she said. What's going on? A lot of Republican-controlled states are doing this. And I actually have a quote. What's happening in Georgia, what's happening in Georgia with the dismantling of these county election boards is an extreme, listen to this, is an extreme example of the national trend that Republican-controlled states do to undermine local election officials. And the person that said this was Jonathan Diaz. He is a senior legal advisor for the Nonpartisan Campaign Legal Center. And he's basically saying, hey, what you're seeing, they're trying to kick off the right people so that they can put in their people. So when you have another person like Trump that says the election was stolen, you have the right people in place, they'll be like, you know what? Yes, it was. You know, they're trying to pass laws to make their theft legal. They're creating a problem, and now they're trying to make laws to solve those problems to benefit them. That's what they're doing.
Well, they've created a problem that doesn't exist, which is interesting. Yeah.
And
it's funny because it's all based on voter fraud, but then you have all of these people who forged those documents saying that they were these electoral officials saying that Trump won. They forged those documents. Like, y'all want to talk about voter fraud? How about them? Like, you're not talking about these people. Like, what's going on?
And again, the case is you had the person that voted twice in the presidential election up in Pennsylvania.
Sure, there's
And
Trump people
and
in
the
Florida.
yeah, and the
Doing that
crazy
in
thing
Florida.
about it, the person that they caught that voted twice, he voted for himself, and then he used his son's name to vote again. And the crazy thing about it, he was one of the main people that was talking about voter fraud, but he was saying the Democrats do it. All of that, when it come to find out, he was the one that was actually committing voter fraud by voting twice and then using his own family member's name, his son, to do it. So when it comes to voter fraud, the majority of the time, 100% of the time, it's a Republican doing it. So it's voter fraud is not a real thing. It's not. It doesn't happen unless it's a Republican. It's just that the numbers.
I mean,
the
the
stats,
number
the
is so
figures.
small. It's like point 0.0001. It's like it's minute in the scheme of things. It doesn't change anything.
So, but moving right along. So, what does all of this mean? We're talking about what's going on in Florida, in Georgia. They're disbanding their elections. The board of elections. They're getting rid of certain people in certain positions, putting their own people in those positions. So what does this mean? With the disbanding of election boards and the Supreme Court gutting the 1965 Voting Rights Act, part of that bill that they gutted made sure that when new laws passed that had to deal with voting, things like that, it had to go through like a federal review, or the federal government had to, let me see what's going on. But now that these laws are being passed, that they're disbanding these boards, the Supreme Court gutting a big and important part of the 1965 Voting Act, is giving way for all these Republicans to write these laws that affect Black and brown people on a major scale, but just affecting people in general as well. You have white people, Asian people that live in these areas, that live in these communities, they're being affected as well. The Republican Party at this point in time, they just don't care. They've never cared. It's only about power and what benefits them. If you ain't got no bootstraps, if you ain't got no boots, they'll still tell you to pull yourself up by them. Like, how is that even possible? You want me to just manifest some bootstraps and then pull them up? Like, come on, people. Let's be real. Let me hold on 1 second. I'm just reading my notes. Helen Butler, who was once oversaw the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, was removed because of these type of practices. What's going on in Lincoln County and other places like that in Georgia, where again, Republican-led general election is passing and creating laws that affect people in these in these positions, and they're singling out Democrats. If you're a Democrat and you're in this position, you can no longer work in here. Unfortunately, because we can't get the votes and we can't get people in these offices and in these positions, the Republican Party is just having at it. They're just having at it. And this is why voting is such important. This is why we need to get these voting bills passed so that the Republican Party and people of that like-minded don't come up with the most extreme. If they had it their way, nobody Black and brown, or if you lived in a certain area, nobody would be able to vote. Like, I honestly believe that. And the way things are going now, it might not be too far off. Right. Where if you don't make a certain amount of money, didn't they used to have, you had to count how many beans was in a jar? You had to read a certain paragraph or something like that before you could vote.
Literacy test, jelly beans, bubbles in soap, all of that.
So what's going on now and how things are being played, we might be getting back to something like that. And this is why we have to stay vigilant. This is why we have to stay active when it comes to voting. We have to educate not just our kids, but adults as well, because there's some people who don't understand everything about voting. And I'm not saying that, they're dumb or anything like that. It's just some people aren't aware. They don't pay attention to politics. So we have to educate them. We have to let them know why it's important. A couple years ago in the state of Massachusetts, we had a lady by the name of Julia Mihai won her election by one vote. And the significance of that is every vote counts. Literally, she won by one vote. And she's been doing she's been doing good and things like that. She won her re-election and things like that. But that's just an example of how every vote counts. Her vote, my vote, your kids' vote if they're of age, which I wish, voting would get, if you're 16 and up, you should be able to vote. But with that being said,
I don't want no
let them
16-year-old
know.
to vote. No, absolutely not. They think they'll put no.
But you get what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
But let me wrap this up though. So I can get to my last thing, and then we can close out the show. But this Helen Butler lady, she says, if you have one party that controls who gets appointed to the board of election, who gets to certify results, and whose votes get counted, then if there's someone with an ideology that says we don't like the outcome of an election, they have a better opportunity of doing something about it. This is why it's so important that you guys be informed about what's going on in your state on a local level. We've said it since day one. Your local elections matter the most. If you want that immediate change, if you want to see that change right now, within 2 years or so, your local elections is where you're going to be able to see those changes and make those changes happen. The presidential election is very important. The midterm elections, which we're going to be talking about in the upcoming shows, those are very, very much important. But the most important election is your local election. Knowing who's going to be your DA, knowing who's going to be your mayor, knowing who's going to be your ombudsman, things like that. Your local elections matter just as, if not more important than the presidential and midterms, because that's where you'll see the changes immediately that you're looking for. So it's important that we
Hear my doorbell.
That is my cue, people. That is my cue. I'll make sure to have links to everything I talked about, and I'll make sure to have links to the Ring of Fire. There was an underwater volcano. It exploded the other day. It was crazy. I'll make sure you guys have links to that. I'm gonna pass the mic off so we can wrap this show up, because we have somebody waiting. Okay. I mean, if you want, I can talk about the Ring of Fire.
I mean, go on and talk. The Ring of Fire. Go ahead. Go. Yeah, you can. I mean, if you want, go ahead. You don't have to rush.
No, I don't want to hold you up, because we got
that's
people
that
like,
son.
Hey.
No,
that's okay.
That's funny. Go ahead, because I have a couple things to say. So go on and do.
All right, I'll make this very quick. So like I was saying, the Ring of Fire, a couple days ago, there was an underwater volcano that exploded. Scientists have estimated that the volcano eruption was 10 megatons, which is the equivalent of a nuclear bomb being dropped. There have been reports that some conspiracy theorists say that a bomb was actually dropped. There's video been circulating around the internet, specifically on Twitter. That has been debunked by scientists and things like that, where they actually have data to prove that there was an actual volcano eruption that happened. It's crazy. All this took place in the Ring of Fire. If you're wondering, where's the Ring of Fire? It actually is starts at the southeast tip of South America, goes all the way up the west coast of America, up into Alaska, over the Bering Strait, down through Japan and into New Zealand. That's the Ring of Fire. It's actually not a ring, but more like a U shape. They just call it that just because it's easier. People remember a ring, and it sounds better. Ring of Fire, U Fire. But it's a lot of very, very crazy stuff going on. Eruptions, volcanoes. The Ring of Fire has 75% of all active volcanoes in the world. And currently, right now, there are 400. Let me repeat that. Right now, 2022, there are currently 452 active volcanoes in the Ring of Fire right now. And 90% of earthquakes and things like that originate from there, because also in the Ring of Fire, you have tectonic plates. And when you have a plate go down and a plate under it, that's how earthquakes happen and volcanoes are formed. Sorry for the whole science thing, but yo, it's crazy stuff. I'll make sure you guys check out the links to that. I'm done. Thank you. You guys awesome.
Before we end it, there's other things happening in Georgia. There is still an investigation going on. Trump is being investigated in Georgia for asking for those extra votes he did. Ivanka is being wanted for some questioning by the 1-6 committee because apparently she knows some stuff, and we know that she knows some stuff, but she's trying to ignore it. They're not doing a subpoena, but they just asked her politely to come in and talk to them. They also want to talk to her in New York for the Trump business dealings because she had a lot to do with that stuff too. So she's probably got a little bit of a headache because every day somebody wants to talk to her about some BS that her daddy husband, whatever he is, has been doing. So she's got a bit of a headache. So that is happening. Voting rights did fail on the floor. When was that vote? Was it yesterday? Yeah. Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday, because today is Thursday. So voting rights did fail. There's a lot of work that we still have to do. All is not lost. We have to keep on working, and we have to organize, right? We got to organize around the suppression. That's what's probably going to happen unless they can try to get parts of voting rights up in the next thing that they're trying to do. There's some type of electoral bill that's coming up that they're going to try to dip and put some stuff into that. Moral of the story, we got to vote. Hey, the governor here in Massachusetts is not going up for re-election. Charlie Baker, Maura Healey, our attorney general, is now running for governor. So that is great. I do like Maura Healey. So she's amazing. And that's happening in Massachusetts. And I think that is it for me.
All right.
I do have some Black history. Yeah, I want it.
Yes.
Black history is American history. What time we got? We got a little bit of time. Let me find it. Oh, you know what? Something did happen in Massachusetts that I saw. It was very interesting. So we were mentioned in the Supreme Court this week, actually, a case went up because Boston City Hall has 3 flags, 2 flags. I guess one is for the state, one is for the federal government or something like that. And then there's an extra flag that I guess people can put in an application or something to have a flag representing something fly at City Hall. Wow. I don't know, whatever your cause is, it can fly there. So a conservative Christian group wanted to fly their flag in City Hall, and City Hall said no. Nope. Boston City Hall said no. So the Christian Center was like, well, we're suing, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. That was kind of crazy when I heard them talking about it. I'm like, wow, this is Boston City Hall. But anyway, they lost, of course, because it's the Christian Supreme Court. Because so the argument was that City Hall was trying to say, and they knew they were going to lose this, we can't fly the Christian flag because it doesn't represent the government, and we don't want people to think that we, this is a representation of what we think, and what they say is a representation of what the Boston government is saying. And the Supreme Court is like, it was really easy. Like, no, because you let other people fly their flag there. Like, you literally legit let other people fly their flag. So that was kind of interesting. And I also saw, this was crazy too, this was all in Massachusetts. So I don't know if people are familiar with, it was like the Back Bay. And I guess there was a guy that someone saw had a knife. And it showed police like chasing this guy from like, just the end of time, just chasing him. And I'm watching it on video, like, he didn't get shot, right? I'm just like, wow, this is crazy, because they thought he had a knife. So they finally took him down with like something called a beanbag gun. And I was like, wow. So I said, wow, look at Boston police, right? Not killing people. He was white. Like, oh, of course he didn't get killed, right? Like, of course he didn't get killed.
They use beanbags on him.
Right, I didn't even know those things existed. I mean, they thought he had a knife, and they literally chased this guy and then used a beanbag gun. So that I found that interesting. But
and it's crazy though. Real quick before you get into the black facts.
Yeah.
Those are non-lethal weapons.
Right.
And a couple years ago, one of the last times the Red Sox won the pennant, a lady unfortunately lost her life because of one of those beanbags. Of course, when Boston wins, I'm sorry, the fans out here, they go crazy. I mean, fans go crazy anywhere. That in any sports team that wins a championship, the fans go crazy. But New York and Boston got some of the wildest fans when their sports team wins. Like, crazy. Anyway, they won. People were going wild, tipping cars over, crawling up poles and stuff. It was wild that night. But this lady just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And one of the police officers fired, I guess, I don't know if it was at her, but someone like around her. She got hit in the face, lost her life. And it was like, oh, but we use non-lethal weapons, but yet that your non-lethal weapon killed the lady. So it's wild. So wild.
Wow. Yeah. That is wild. All right. Black history is American history. Maud Ballou, 1925 to 2019. She was an activist. She was also personal secretary to Martin Luther King.
Wow.
Right. This is an unsung hero. She and her husband were personal friends of Dr. King. She worked as a secretary. Her words: I booked flights, research, writing, I did it all. She did more than that. She organized the bus boycott. So we're always wondering, how did those things get organized? How did people know where to go? Who organized the carpools? Maud Ballou was doing that. And not only did she do that, she edited and added things to the I Have a Dream speech. So kudos and salute to Maud Ballou, an unsung hero and personal secretary to Martin Luther King.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, Martin Luther King Day was earlier this week. So that's just a good tie-in, something to start the week off, with that famous brother, Martin Luther King, MLK, and then to end it, because this is our Friday Eve with his personal secretary. That's I like that. We be thinking, y'all. We be thinking. That's how we do. That's how What's Up People's News do. But no, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, the last thing I want to say before we close out, and I'll pass again the mic off to Ms. Quest. Thank you guys for stopping by, spending your time with us. We definitely appreciate it. You guys mean the world to us. You're here with us every week. Thank you. But this is your last reminder. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and select all, so you get all notifications.
Right.
When we go live and other things like that get uploaded. But again, I love you guys. That's all I
Yes.
got.
That's
What
all
you
I
got, Miss
got.
Quest?
Go watch Women of the Movement. Go finish watching. This is the last installment. Go watch Mamie Till. That's where I'm going. And have a good weekend, everyone.
All right. See you guys next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, there it is. Right on time.